So, welcome to what is hopefully going to be a fairly quick and straightforward introduction to Star Citizen. I know that the game is not the best optimized to hold your hand through getting yourself logged in, set up, and running a few missions for the first time. So that's the main goal here, to make sure with hopefully new players coming in for the free fly event and indeed afterwards that you'll have a bit more of an idea of where to go and what to do to start out with. So I've done a character reset, so I'm hopefully starting from a fresh perspective on the main screen of Star Citizen, and we're going to go to Persistent Universe, which is going to ask us to select our create our character. In the interest of time, you can look through all of these many options yourself, but I am going to be the most dull generic guy in the universe. Once you're happy, just click accept. I'm not even going to make any changes. This will then take us to a location selection. So for the purposes of this guide, I'm obviously going to select EU for myself since I'm based in the UK. And I'm going to have the option to select a system. So if you just want to go and check out your ship that you've got as part of your package, you can select a hangar view, and it will just be you in a hangar, and you can call in that ship to have a look around. But we want to get into the Persistent Universe, so we're going to select Stanton System, which is the only star system in the game at the moment. And this is then going to give me an option of 3 places to spawn, which are the 3 major city centres in the game at the moment. Because I think it's the easiest one to start at, I'm going to select Lorville. And once we're happy with that, we're going to hit visit location. Just while it loads in, don't worry about any of the character customization stuff. It's all completely something that you can go back and do. So if you decide you want a different hairstyle or want to change any way your character looks, then you can go back to character customization at any time. So we are here in our bed in Lorville, and one of the first questions a lot of people have is, great, I'm laid down and I've spawned into this game, but how the hell do I get out of my bed? So we're going to start using what they term the inner thought system, which is you hold down the F key, and if you look around, you'll be able to see some prompts of actions that you can take. So in this case, we're going to get up, and another common Star Citizen feature, the bed's gravitational pull has taken us. Our characters decide to get up again. So one thing you can do to try and avoid that a little bit, it's all about just finding ways around the bug, I can assure you, is just running away a bit from the bed and try to avoid its gravitational pull. So we're in our hab, and there isn't a whole lot to do here yet. Now, I know you can probably have a fiddle with things and inspect your cup if you really want to, but most of us just want to get on out of here. So inner thought again, and open this door. So a lot of doors are very clearly marked like that, but some of them are not so great. If you ever get stuck, just hold down F and make sure you take a look around, because some things might not be quite so obvious as others. Just in case, sort of particularly when you're just getting started out, the all chat that you can see over in the left-hand side of the screen is just getting in your way of things. You can press F12 to shut that off. So we come out into this habitation area. Very salubrious Lorville, as you can see. Sometimes you might spawn down on the lower platform, but most of the time you spawn up here. What we want to do is head towards the elevator that says exit. So again, inner thought button, and we'll click on this to call the elevator. So not all of the buttons are as obvious as the inner thought prompts, but they're trying to get more of the systems over to these sorts of panels that you really interact with. We want to select ground floor, which isn't appearing on this list. So some of these screens you can interact with by holding the F and then rolling down the mouse wheel, and you'll see more options. So we want to go to the ground floor, so we left click that. So doors open, and we will come round, walk away from the desk, and get out into the lovely night air of the city. So you might notice I'm moving a little bit slow. So one thing you can do if you start, by default it will have you at a walking speed, or you just push it forward. You can roll up the mouse wheel and the character will start moving along a bit quicker. So you can see slowing down, speeding up. If you want to get into that third person mode, that's just by pressing F4. 1, 2, 3 to take you back to first person. So we've come out and we want to head left because the first place we're heading is to the metro. Thankfully this is signposted quite neatly. Much like big city metro lines, we've got different coloured lines for different things. We're going to want to head to the spaceport to start with because I want to just focus in this first introductional video on getting your ship out, spaceport line on the left, and maybe running a mission to get yourself some cash, covering a few of the basic controls to get everybody started. Oh, there's a train there, can we make it? Nope, there we go, there's a inaugural Star Citizen voyage. Have to take a little wait for the tram. So, if we want to do what this guy's doing and taking a seat, we can look at a lot of these chairs. Again, in the thought button, just get used to them. Click down and have a seat while we wait, because we don't want to get ourselves out of breath. Now our train's in 10 seconds, so while you can use the inner thought and click get up, it's worth using as many shortcuts as you can master. So holding Y will stand you up out of the seat, and that works for all seats. So be they chairs on trams, in tram stations, or the chair of your ship, your cockpit. So we're waiting on the train, and we're about to head off. So this line, thankfully, is going to take us straight to the Tisa spaceport. Have to remember the names of these things. Spaceports exist in all of the major cities, so they've got different names, but if you look to get to the spaceport, that's going to be where you're going to be able to leave with your ship. Which, personally, I find it amazing that Star Citizen doesn't hold your hand enough to to at least get you to the spaceport the first time and in your ship taking off. So while this tram ride is in progress, I don't want to ruin it for you, because I think some of the tram rides are one of the most exciting things when you start out. I'm going to take this time to just show you one of your most useful tools, which is your mobbing glass on F1. Actually, I'm going to get off the tram first, because otherwise I'm going to get stuck here. So, if we press F1, we bring up our mobbing glass, basically our iPhone of the 2950s. So here I'll see on the first screen my personal details, loud guns, that's me. See my current balance of AUEC. Now that's a bit higher than what people are going to start with. Unfortunately, I couldn't reset my money. But what I will include in the details of the video, and maybe I'll put some fantastic editing in, is I'll just flash up my referral code. Works well for me. If you want to go ahead and buy a game package, I get some points. But importantly, from your perspective, you get 5,000 extra starting UEC, which, yeah, it's a nice little sum when you're starting out, so it'll help you on your way. I can see some basic vitals monitoring for my character, so what my heart rate's at, so that's why you don't want to be sprinting everywhere. You will give yourself a heart attack. And a bit about sort of the external atmosphere and vehicle status, tracked missions, which we'll come to later. But the most important thing is to know that your mobbing glass is on F1, and that's how we're going to access an awful lot of stuff going forward. But we'll come back to that. First, we're going to proceed to the exit and worry about getting our ship out and doing some basic flying. So don't want to head that way, that's the other tram. I want to go to the customs area. Past these scary men with guns. There's none of the systems in the game at the moment to make you worry about going through these with firearms yourself. I believe that will be in the future. Now, once we come here, These are vehicle retrieval consoles. They appear in all manner of space stations and landing zones. So anywhere you can land and you can get a ship out, you will find these vehicle retrieval consoles. They're always the same. They always have that yellow trim to them and have the same displays on them. So we want to go ahead and interact with one of these, and so we're going to click use on it. That's going to bring up our fleet manager view, which includes a list of all of our ships. Now, one of the things which sort of annoys me slightly is, so I've been playing for a little while, I've got quite a lot of ships. I assure you I bought the vast majority of these in-game. There's no need to go and buy crazy expensive packages. I cannot stress that enough. A lot of stuff is available to buy in-game. So what I'm going to do, in the interest of this being a starter video, is I'm going to search for, hopefully if it will load in, my RSI Aurora MR, which is one of the first sort of lower value starter packages that you can purchase. So we're going to retrieve that ship there and take a look at it. So this is going to tell us where it's going to pop our ship out for us. That disappeared, but what I can see is this in the center of the screen, the blue heads-up display, which is telling me that my Aurora MR is in hangar 9. So we're not going to run that 517 meters because we can't. We're going to look for the elevators to the hangars. So 2 sets of them, some here, some here. Doesn't matter which ones you use, they all go to all of the hangars. So we're going to call one of those elevators and just wait out for it. Cool. So again, inner thought, holding the F, scrolling until we find hangar 9. Select hangar 9. And that's going to take us to where our ship is parked. Now, one thing I'm going to put in the comments below is, well, video description is a map to some of the keyboard controls. So if I go a bit quick over them, don't worry, you don't have to pause the video, rewind every second. Take a look down in the description below, and you'll see a good keyboard map. So thankfully, CIG have put these little blue dots on, which indicate where you can get into ships. That didn't used to be there. It's very useful. If we hold our inner thought button by it, we'll have a series of options. We can just open the door, but we just want to go for entering the ship, which will do the full animation for us. I've joined the channel. The Aurora is a pretty basic little starting ship, but got a little bed there at the back, and we've got our main enter pilot seat here, so we're just going to go ahead and jump straight in. So, I would first press R. R is flight ready mode. So all of these things are available on buttons around the cockpit, but it's easier to learn the shortcuts as quickly as you can. Now we are able to look around if we hold F to free view. We are stuck in a closed hangar. A lot of people get to this point and then are stuck because they don't know how to make that hangar door open. If I press F11, I can go straight to the comlink on my Mobby glass. And if I go to my friends, we'll see Lawville Landing Services, and I can click there to request a takeoff permission. That has started hailing them, and I get the message that I'm clear for launch. So if I look up, hopefully we can see the hangar doors are moving. Now, basic flight controls. Space is going to take me up. WSAD going to move me forward, backwards, left and right. E and Q going to pitch roll my vehicle, and I can turn with the mouse. So using F4, I can look outside the ship. Hopefully miss some of these bits. And we are officially free. So we want to point ourselves up towards the sky and start moving forward. Now you'll see my speed is on the left. I've got just hitting 120 meters per second there. Now I've got a line which is my speed limiter. So once we get to that 139 meters per second, 140, my ship isn't going to go any faster unless I roll up with my mouse wheel. And that's going to allow us to add more speed, which we want as we seek to break atmosphere and get away from Lorville. So we are going straight for space, so we will get up close to 90 degrees. Whatever the ship sort of feels comfortable at, you might have to try and use E and Q to just stop it rolling over as you pitch it too high. On the right hand of the altitude meter, we've got that number which is going up and just about to hit 8,000. That's our distance off the ground, our altitude. I should really start learning all these proper terms for things. We've also got some other details on the display, sort of our quantum fuel and our hydrogen fuel. Use hydrogen fuel to do things like move around in space, and like what we're doing at the moment, using hydrogen fuel exiting atmosphere. Quantum fuel is for longer journeys. Now, I'm just holding down the W to keep myself moving forward, but what I want to do is press C, and you'll see that little arrow has appeared under my speed limiter. That has engaged the cruise control, and it will just keep me moving forward until I press C again to tell it not to. So particularly nice for leaving planet, leaving atmosphere, save down on the work you have to do. So you can hold down Z for free look to look around your ship without turning it, and you can get a good, decent view of the city below and the planet as we exit out into space. So we can just roll up to get going at even more speed. Now, while we leave the final bits of Lorville's atmosphere, of Hurston's atmosphere, we can start thinking about where we want to go next. So if we press F2, we're going to jump straight to the star map of our Mobbyglass. So by default, it will be a bit too zoomed in. So what we want to do, is we want to double right click. Don't ask me why. That is the shortcut to zoom out the star map. The star map is on the list of things that CIG are updating, and it needs to be updated. It's not particularly a highly recommendable part of the game, so we'll be very happy to see if they come up with something better. Now I can see the whole of the Stanton system, Stanton SAR in the middle. We've got 4 major planets: Crusader, Hurston where we are, Microtech out on the fringes, and ArcCorp. They each have their own feel, their own shops and different governments. And then there are smaller sort of points that we can jump to, like the asteroid fields, Lagrange points. So to start with, if we double click on Hurston itself, we'll zoom into the look at Hurston, the planet, and its moons: Ariel, Aberdeen, Eta, and Magda. We can zoom in even further, and we will start to see all of the different locations that we can look at getting to on Hurston. The first one we want to go to, because I just want to start plotting a course, is Everest Harbour. It will always orbit straight above Lorville. So we click on Everest Harbour once, left click, and then we're going to set route there, and that's going to come up with Everest Harbour in as our jump. If you can't get it to click on Everest Harbour. Try clicking on something else first, and then click back on Everest Harbour. So it's just one of the bugs to get around. Press F2 and we'll get back to our cockpit view. The altitude meter has gone away, so we are definitely out of atmosphere. And I'm going to press C just to kill my cruise control. So you'll see the radar below me has got a green line, and there's a blue arrow which is pointing me towards the direction of my my mapped course to Everest Harbour, which is quite a short distance away relatively in space terms. But even short distances can be covered with your quantum drive, which is key to getting around in Star Citizen. To enter quantum mode, you'll press B. That's going to show Everest Harbour. That's 195.6 kilometers away. The quantum drive is going to spool and calibrate the jump, and once that's done, you hold B for just a couple of seconds, and you take yourself into quantum. So that has arrived us a lot quicker at Everest Harbour. Now I'm trying to do some of these things on the fly, so sorry if I miss anything. One that I realised I really should have done as I was taking off from Everest Harbour was I should have pressed N to retract my landing gear. That probably made the flight out of atmosphere, but bit slower than it should have been. But what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to press N to put our landing gear back down. So we can see we've got the 3 dots below the speed, gear, coupled, and one I've forgotten what it is. The key things here for us are gear. We want to see that dot is filled in, and we can check outside our ship and have a bit of a look under it, and we can see that we've got our landing gears down. Because what we want to do here is we want to land ourselves at Everest Harbour. Now, the reason I'd recommend doing that in the start is basically because the cities are quite big to get in and out of. So if you log out of the game at any point, you're going to be back at the point that you logged out. Everest Harbour is a lot smaller, and it'll be quicker to get you out of your bed and into your ship. So I'd recommend first thing you do when you're starting out in the game is get yourself up to Everest Harbour or an equivalent space station. All of the major cities have one over them. Now you'll see we've just entered an armistice zone, and if you look to the top right, you'll see two signs in the HUD. One is a satellite, and that indicates that I'm within a comm array, and therefore any crimes that I commit or are committed on me will be reported. And the second one is the sort of bullets with a cross thing through it. That means I'm in an armistice zone, and even if I try, I won't be able to fire my guns. So we just got the message up, contact ATC to land. That means that we're within range of Everest Harbour itself, and we can request to sit down. Now, we could hit F11 and go to our friends and find Everest Harbour and do the same thing that we did at Lawville, but I think it's time to start having a look at using the screens in the ship, because they're not just for show. So a lot of these things have been programmed into the game and have actual functionality. So if we hold down F and we look across, we can click menu on this one. I'm just going to roll the mouse wheel a little bit to look more closely at it. So what we want is comms. Now that's going to bring up basically a replica of our F11 screen. We've got Everest Harbour here at the top, and we want to look for that little Wi-Fi signal, and just left click on that, and we can hail Everest Harbour. Just getting used to using some of the things on the MFD displays, makes it a lot quicker, and it's quite nice and immersive. So they've said please proceed to the assigned landing bay, so that's what we're going to do. So we've got the blue arrow showing. Different ships have different coloured HUDs, so if your ship displays are orange, then you'll be looking for orange arrows. If your ship displays are green. What won't change in terms of colours is identifications for players and things. So white Little arrows like that indicate something which is NPC controlled, like that's probably a turret for the harbour, and that blue one across there, that's another player, so wave hello to him. What you will watch out for though is red markers like that, because they are for naughty, piratey enemies. So control and space can be used to go up and down, along with the other flight controls that we've been looking at, but we want to bring ourselves down towards the pad. If you're coming in too fast, hold down X, that's basically your brakes. You'll see I've got thrust levels to the left of my speed. Now if I apply the brake, I go 120%. So what you can't do is use that thrust for too long, or it will overheat your engines, and then you will be a bit stuck. So just go bring this down. What I can use is F4. And if we land just in the center of the pad. So there we go, we've landed complete. If we want to power down our ship, we can just press U, and we can hold down Y to jump out of the sea. Open the door and jump out, and we're in space. So all of these space stations are very similar to each other. So we're on pad 2, I believe that says. Leave my glasses on. Just useful to know where to look for these little things, because one of the best things you can do in Star Citizen is team up with people, and so good to know how to look to say, I'm on pad 2, come and join me, mate. But we can go through to the lobby here, and as you'll see, Everett's Harbour is just a bit of a smaller version of what we had at the spaceport. Now here at Everest, we've got the same vehicle retrieval consoles. We can also use these to, if it will load up, use this store button to just pop our ship away. It's not necessarily a need to do that. Your ship will get automatically stored after some time anyway. But it's just useful to know how to pop one away if you want to maybe take another one out. Now one of the main benefits to Everest is that's where we had the hangars and the elevators. This is the easy hab where if you now log out, you will spawn. So the moment that you call the permission to land, that's the point at which you change your spawn location. So it's good to know sometimes you only have to do almost a flyby of a station and just request permission to land if you want to land there. But the real reason I've brought you to Everest is so that we can hit up my favourite burrito bar for something to eat and drink, because those are the two survival mechanics, if you like, in Star Citizen. We do have to think about eating from time to time and drinking from time to time. So if I hold down F and I right click, I'll be able to bring up actions and some details about my character. Now down in the bottom left you can see I'm 100% on my thirst meter and 100% on my food meter, which is fine. I don't need this burrito. I'm eating this one for fun, but also to show you how you would do it if you needed to eat and drink, because ultimately if you let those things drop down, you will die. That said, don't start to worry that this is a game like something like Ark Survival. You do not have to eat many steaks a day just to keep yourself going. You'll probably find yourself maybe having to drink and eat once per a few hours of gaming session. So don't worry too much about it. But we've currently got our helmet on, so it's also useful that we've entered this wheel, that was F, and right click, because this is a quick way to just do things like unequip our helmet. Now you'll see we've lost an awful lot of our HUD. You'll lose the chat. You can see my character is now got his helmet off, because trying to eat through a through a helmet is a bad idea. So I can come up and look at one of these burritos, do a quick buy to get that thing in my hand, and then if I just hold left mouse button, my character's gonna have a good chew. Same thing with the water and the fizzy drinks. I'm on a bit of a health kick at the moment, so I think I'm just gonna go for a bottle of water. Now again, just hold left click to drink, and you can save the rest for later if you want, or you can just chug it. So things in your hands, if you hold F and you look at them, you can have an option to drop it, just drops it to the floor, or place it. So we're going to neatly try and place this in the bin, because we're conscientious, environmentally concerned citizens. So after our delicious burrito, we want to start thinking about getting out into the verse and actually making some money. So we need to start looking for a job. If we press F1, bring up our mobbing-glass, and we are going to look across the bottom until we find contracts manager here, the little bit of paper. And this is going to have a list of jobs that we can take on to make various amounts of cash. Now, to start with, we're going to look at mercenary jobs, and what we're looking for particularly is one that says halt illegal surveillance, and you'll see this will pay 20,000 AUEC, it's up for another 14 minutes, issued by Hurston Dynamics, and you can read the gumph that they've put there about what we're actually doing, but we're going to accept the offer, and then we're going to make sure that it's tracked, so you see a little blue square has come up in my screen. If it doesn't show up, then just check that says untrack, indicating that it's tracked, and close your mobbing-glass. And now we're going to need to come across and get our ship back out to make this happen. So I just want to show that these mercenary jobs can be done with the most base level of ship. So once we've got a platform, we can make our way back out there. Pad 2. So one thing we do want to do before we get out there is just make sure we've put our helmet back on. We'll do this nice little animation if we just give it a second. There we go, that's our display loading back up. And that'll mean that we don't die when we hit the cold vacuum of space. I wish I could say that I've never died that way, but it would be a lie. One key giveaway is that your character starts gasping for air at this point if you haven't put your helmet back on, so if that happens, run back in as quickly as you can, you might just save yourself. But we're going to jump in the ship. And enter the pilot seat. Pressing R to get our systems to flight ready. And we will look across to this comm array, because it's not as obvious here because we're on a pad open to space, but we still need to tell Everest Harbour with that little Wi-Fi signal that we're intending to leave. Air traffic control need to know these things, so space to take us straight up, and W to push us out. We'll pop cruise control on to get a little bit away from the station. We don't need to go out of the armistice zone though before we start plotting our route to our objective, so that's good to know because it means that while you're fiddling around learning to use the star map, F2, you don't have to worry about getting shot. So if we just double right click to zoom out a bit and then zoom in on Hurston, we'll see that this objective is around Magda. So we can double click on Magda to get in closer to it, and what we want to do is specifically left click on the comm array. Now That's not showing the green dotted line, but the key thing is I can see Comare here, so I know I've got it selected. I can set route, and that's going to plot me a course. So I press F2 to get back out of it, and then I'm looking for that arrow, and it's going to point also towards the objective square that's come up. Press B to start my quantum drive calibrating and spooling. Once that's complete, hold B again, and that will get us travelling in quantum travel mode. And once we're here, so this was a 2-step jump, we look for the next part, where we're going to jump towards the Comare. So here we are, 14 kilometers away from the monitors we have to destroy. So we can start heading towards there. Remember C to set yourself into cruise control, but don't set that speed too high because we've only got 12 kilometers to travel and we're going to have to stop before we hit what's out there. So no need to be zooming around at mega thousands of meters per second. So if we just take our foot off the gas by pressing C again, our new objective is to destroy all the monitors before they upload. So we'll press Tab, and that sets us to scanning mode, because we need to find the satellites which are messing with the Comare. So if we hold down right click and then we release it once it's at 100%, we've got something over here. Now 100% scans will go through things, so we want to now maybe just only charge it to 75%, and that gives us a more accurate picture of where the thing we're looking at is. Now we've got a radar contact. We can see that this is a one of the points of interest scanning sort of array. We want to know where that is, but we don't necessarily want to start shooting it just yet because we've got 3 of these things to find. So let's take a look. So we have another one up here. Just want to know where they are before I start blasting them. When you start blasting, that's when the timer's going to start on you. So I think the third one is, or is that maybe, that's maybe the Comare itself. We don't need to go into the Comare at all for this, so it's just worth knowing. So there we've got another one. That is the Comare. So we've just got one more to find. So hopefully that is it here. Now what will happen when we start shooting this is that the people, the bad guys who are doing this scanning are probably going to turn up. So we don't want to worry about them. We are in a pretty weak ship. So there's the third one. So we just want to worry about getting these things destroyed. If we press Tab to get out of the scanning mode like I did, and then we press T, that will bring up a give us the target on that monitor. Now let's just get into about 2 kilometers away. You'll see my targeting reticle change slightly. That indicates my guns, which I'm going to hold down left click for. I'm going to start doing some damage to it. Hopefully go get some nice explosions out of this when it blows. There we go, fireworks. Now that set us a timer, 4 minutes, 30 seconds, so we are going to work front to back, or back to front probably, because that was the one we found last. There's our next monitor, 4 kilometers away. Once we're in that range, we're going to start pummeling it with ballistics. Like I say, the guns on this are not up to much. If you've started with the Mustang, which is the other ship of a similar sort of starter money level, then you'll probably have a slightly quicker time with this, but like I say, it's not necessary, and the Aurora's got other benefits like a bit of extra cargo space. And when your weapons overheat, maybe just take a bit of time to let them cool back down. If you don't listen to Spaceship Alexa, then these things will stop working. Like so, and you will then just be forced to wait for them to cool down. And what I can see is that one of the bad guys is coming in, but we are just going to ignore him. Gotta focus on our job. We're not here to fight. We're here to clear out those pesky monitors. And that, I believe, is where the last one is located. There we go. T for that target mode. Let's get in nice and close so I don't waste any shots on this. The bad guys that are after us are not too bad, so we can probably have time to quickly do this without having to take particularly evasive maneuvers. It's getting so close I can't miss. Now, there we go, there was the mission objective complete. Now we don't want to die, so let's just hit B and look for an exit route. Now as you see, all of these are all the options of places to jump to. Just look for something like one of the OM points. Keep driving away from the people shooting you, and hold B once you're charged. Those bad guys are not going to follow us, so we are safe, and we are 20,000 credits richer. So what you can do quite comfortably is from this point go back to your contract manager, look to your mercenary tab again and look for some more of these halt illegal surveillance missions. There are plenty of other missions to try. These are just I found some of the best to do in a starter ship, and what I'd probably do is use these just to get used to some of the techniques which are going to come up in a lot of the other things that we'll do during this series. So it's got a little bit of everything. You're gonna have to take off and land. You're gonna have to do some scanning. You're gonna have to do some shooting, targeting. So that's great for just getting your head around some of the systems, and then build up probably to 100,000 credits or so, and then you'll be in a position to maybe move on to some of the next videos in the series. So one thing we're just going to do, because we don't want to necessarily have to go through the pain of reclaiming our ship, is at this point I'm just going to take us back to Everest Harbour. Let's zoom in to Hurston, find Everest Harbour and set our course, and I will see you back there. So I've just landed at Everest Harbour, and one of the final things I want to just clear off on the technicals to keep you going in Starset is how to refuel and restock your ship. So if we press F1 to get our mobbing glass up while we're in the pilot seat of the ship, if we look along the bottom on the different tiles, we can find vehicle maintenance services. You have to be down on a landing pad for this to work. But we'll see here that we've got options to repair, restock, refuel hydrogen, refuel quantum, and the costs of those. So we just go click all of those and confirm, and then we should see our fuel start to go up on the right hand side of the display. So our quantum is back at 100, our hydrogen's back at 100, and any repairs and restocking of ammo will be carried out. So once that's done, you can feel free to power down the ship with U, and hold Y. Now, one thing I would do now, which I wouldn't recommend doing generally because it's pretty immersion breaking, what if you get stuck? Star Citizen, gotta be completely honest, right? If you're not ready for a game which is in an alpha state, which has bugs, then this is probably not for you, in the nicest way possible. What might happen at certain points is you might find yourself stuck in the chair as you get out of it. You might find that you're stuck in an elevator and the lift panels have stopped working. So it's good to know that by holding backspace, my character has some form of aneurysm, and I will die and reset myself. Now, because the last place I asked for docking permission was Everest Harbour, Everest Harbour is where I have respawned, so time to get up and get back on with my day as if nothing happened. In the future in the game, one of the things that's going to come in is permadeaths, so your character can only die so many times before you die and you lose some of the reputation you've acquired. You won't ever lose your ships, don't worry about that, but it will set you back some. So while backspacing out of things is a legitimate way to get around some of Star Citizen's bugs, what I wouldn't start devising are strategies to save time which rely on killing yourself in game. So just a word of warning there, because when we go live they won't work so well. Final thing I want to just take a quick look at is your inventories. So let's go shopping, since we've got a little bit of cash to our names. So let's go for the elevators and select the Galleria, and set about spending some of our day's work. So fairly few shops, but there's shops of all types around the galaxy, and this particular one seems to feature mostly armors, so let's take a look around. So all of these different parts, you can hold your inner thought button and try them on. So let's just give it a go. Now that looks pretty nice, but let's maybe try this instead. Yeah, it's a pretty good look. So we can buy these things by looking directly at the pieces and just confirming our purchase. So that's a new helmet. Maybe let's buy a new undersuit while we're here. We've been in this one all day, so it's probably pretty rank. And some of this can be a bit tricky, so you can't always see all of the pieces that you'd like to buy. So we know we want this field recon suit core, and we want the arms that go with that, and the legs. But if we're finding it a bit difficult to buy off the model, we can use the terminals, just like we use the ship retrieval terminals. So these show all of the things that the shop sells. So let's look for armor, and we'll buy the field recon suit arms. Have one of them. We've already got the helmet. Let's grab the legs. I'm not necessarily recommending these as the exact things that you buy, it's more just the process of spending your cash and then equipping it to your character. So we can close out by pressing the X, or we can just pull back by holding S, and we'll walk away from the screen. But now we want to set about actually putting them on our character, so if we just press F1 to bring up the mobi-glass, and we're looking for the equipment manager part of the tab here. So we're in a bit of a lame undersuit, so let's go to our undersuit first. Let's look for that TCS4, I believe it was, that we bought. So left click that, it will show on our character, but what we do just need to remember to do is hit save changes and equip, and that'll allow it to actually take effect. Same thing with the armour. So we will add our field recon suit helmet. We can add a few of these and then save changes and equip all in one go. So let's get the core on, the arms, and the legs. Save changes and equip. And just give it a second so that all these changes register, and then we can close our mobiGlas. And there we go. We've made some progress. We've got some shiny new gear. So it's a big universe out there in Star Citizen, and it's going to get bigger over time. So what we're going to try and do is release another series of videos which are going to go into a bit more detail about different career paths you might be able to follow. The most fleshed out ones at the moment are things involving combat, mining, and trading, so those will be my first 3 videos I make. We'll go into a bit more of the specifics of each of those roles so that you can maybe pick one which suits you the best, and we'll sort of show you from this point that we've got to today how to go forward and make some more money, and sort of what ships you might want to consider if you want to follow one of those career paths. But I would really advise that you try a bit of everything at this point. Even if you don't think you're going to be a combat ace, you definitely want to try a bit of it. Even if you don't know that space asteroid mining will be for you, there's no reason not to give it a go. And with that in mind, one of the other things I would really hammer home is that of all of the gaming communities I've been a part of, and all the different games I've played over more years than I'd care to admit to, the community in general is one of the most welcoming. What I'm not saying is that you should just go into all chat and say, hey, who wants to give me 1,000,000 credits, because frankly those people are annoying as hell. What you can do though is just ask for a bit of help. A lot of people are out there who would be more than happy to come along and take someone along as a turret gunner. A lot of people would love to come and have you crew on like one of their multi-crew ships. Don't run out and feel that you need to spend loads of money buying lots of ships, even if they're not available to rent in the game. Just ask in all chat, hey, does anyone have this ship? And 9 times out of 10, somebody is going to stick their hands up and be like, yeah, I've got one. If you want to come on over to me, I'll lend it to you. And they might even be kind enough to basically take you out, show you the ropes in it, maybe get you into doing some interesting stuff. It's not about jumping in on day one and joining like an organization, though that's great if you want to do it. It's quite a welcoming community, so I would really recommend you put yourself out there and get involved with other people. You'll probably have a lot more hours of fun than you would necessarily have solo, but I can also understand if you just want to proceed on to some of the next videos and try and make your way a bit before you necessarily get into playing with other people. So thank you very much for your time, and hopefully I'll see you in the next videos.